Good evening. You're watching the Urban Debate here with me, Aarti Subramaniam. Mumbai, India's financial capital, a city that many consider the ultimate aspirational destination. Close to one-third of India's overall tax collection comes from Mumbai alone and, of course, contributes very significantly to growth and India's overall GDP. In addition to Mumbai, there is also the Mumbai Metropolitan Region, or MMR. Now, this is an emerging metropolis comprising 9 key municipal corporations that contribute 36% towards the state GDP. Now, you'd imagine that Mumbai and its satellite cities, given their contribution, given the financial heft that they have, to be of a certain standard, if not swanky. But instead, here's what we have. A part of an under-construction bridge, a very important bridge in the heart of the financial district in Mumbai, collapsing, injuring 14. A road riddled with potholes in Bhiwandi in MMR, leading to the deaths of 2 people, a mother and a son duo. Sadly, these are not isolated incidents and definitely not the advertisement needed for the financial hub of the country. But why is this happening? The simple answer: corruption, collusion, and callousness. To discuss this very pressing issue, this very pressing civic and urban infrastructure issue this evening, Shweta Shalini, spokesperson of the BJP, Ketan Vaidya, political analyst, Saili Manikar, senior fellow of the and urban policy at the ORF, and Chandrasekhar Prabhu, urban planner, former president of the MADA. Saili, let me just start off with you. Now, before we get into the specifics of these incidents and other such incidents, there is a certain image that Mumbai has. And for all those who live outside Mumbai, if you could just burst that bubble perhaps and explain why the city, and especially a commute in the city and in the entire MMR region, is such a nightmare.
Thank you so much for this. I thought, let me first, I would like to keep the politics aside and come to the policy part of it on why things are the way they are. And if you're talking of today's incidents, that is the bridge collapse, which was an under construction bridge. I think when we're talking of a city which is the financial capital of the country, which is a global city compared to a New York and London and all these cities at all times, I think 3 issues are very, very important. One is governance. The other is administration. Third is management and service delivery. And I think this is where there is huge institutional lacuna. So even in today's problem, if you see, why has a bridge like this collapsed? So one is that where is the institutional capacity to mind all this? Was there some engineering failure that has happened, which is symbolic? This is symbolic. Why is it happening over and over all the time? So one is, of course, institutional delivery, which is failing. The second is that where is the asset management that is happening in a global city like this? There are no maintenance schedules. There is no replacement strategy. And I think third is where we are not using technology at all. I mean, look at today, you have IoT-based pressure gauges. You have real-time relaying systems which can tell you how a bridge is coming up, how is it standing, what is the pressure it is on, and you will get alerts on collapses. Why is it like that a mega city like Mumbai and MMRDA, which is such a strong institution and which is actually laying out our planning and infrastructure for the whole of MMR, really not using all this? I think it boils down to a failure of governance, administration, and institutional lacunae.
Well, Saili, I agree with you that, policy and politics should be separated. But unfortunately, in our country, governance is so closely linked to politics. And I want to take that to the spokesperson of the BJP, Shalini Singh. Now, the simple answer to what actually Saili was saying is that there is such deep-rooted corruption in these civic bodies. There is such deep-rooted corruption in various civic institutes. So, Shweta, Shalini, if at all, we had to go down to the nub of the issue, that's what it is. It is corruption and collusion between contractors and also civic body officials.
Thank you, Aarti ji. Thanks first and foremost to correct my name.
Sorry, second, I apologize for that. That was my mistake.
That's fine. That's fine. Second, I was called for a debate. I see absolutely no political person on this debate. There are three political parties that are forming the government, and there is no point having a debate because I know that they don't have a face to come on national television and talk about anything. Because whatever, every single deal of this government, every single project of this government stinks of corruption. Now, just go back and look at the timeline. J. Kumar Infra Projects, who was actually doing this entire project, was a blacklisted party. Yet, MMRDA project was given to him. Now, consider this, that the additional commissioner who at that point of time, when this party was blacklisted, SVR Srinivas was the additional commissioner then, is the today commissioner of MMRDA. What does that prove to you? Does anything by any chance give an indication that everybody from top to bottom is hand in gloves? Now, MMRDA is something that comes directly under the chief minister. Has the chief minister spoken anything about the incident? Now, if we are extremely fortunate that we did not lose lives, but this is an indication of the way governance is happening. I think Saili was absolutely right. It shows a complete failure of governance. But what it also actually shows is a rampant corruption that is happening in the state of Maharashtra, where the people sitting in the government are actually pulling out money from every single project. And that's what primarily it shows. Now, look at even after being blacklisted, this company was given metro projects. It was given the Mankurd link road. Now, we've already seen what has happened to the opened Mankurd link road. It already is showing patches. It already is showing it has been closed for heavy vehicles and trucks. It is showing glossy marks. Now, let's understand, is there absolutely no audit system? And there is absolutely nobody who's pinpointing a finger as an expert and saying that something wrong is happening. There are absolutely no whistleblowers inside the system. Where have all these people gone? And that is the question that we want to ask as an opposition sitting in Maharashtra, because this is what the people of Maharashtra want to know. People in the financial capital of the country deserve more.
Yeah.
They deserve more transparency. They deserve more governance. And that is our question to the current government.
I just want to tell all our viewers and Shweta Shalini also to respond to you. We did reach out to the Shiv Sena, the NCP and the Congress, and they expressed their unavailability to participate in this discussion. But before I come to Chandrasekhar Prabhu, Mr. Prabhu, just bear with me for 2 minutes because I want to take up on something that you said. You said that you've mentioned that we should look at the corruption. Okay, I just want to take you through some timelines, because what you mentioned in terms of, Shweta Shalini, what you mentioned in terms of the timeline, you said that this corrupt firm or this blacklisted firm has been given another contract. It was done during Devendra Fadnavis's term. Yes, that has continued and that has been stretched out. But in 2016, when this particular firm in question that was responsible for the flyover today, that particular firm in 2015 was blacklisted by the BMC, but then they were given a contract by the MMRDA. So it all just boils down to the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing, and the supervision being zero under the BJP regime at that time.
Absolutely not. In fact, please go back and check your records. I brought out the timeline myself because I've studied it. Please understand, there are three things that you need to understand in this. One, there are many more projects which have been given even during the current regime to the same party. And that's why I named a few, right from metro to the Mankur, the link road has been given to the same party. Now, second point is, also, please understand that NCP did raise a voice at that point of time. But did they cancel the contract? Because the work started in the second regime. We lost an opportunity to come back. And of course, everybody in Maharashtra knows what exactly happened and what conspired against us. But work actually started in this current regime. They could have stopped it. Why did they not stop it?
Well, Chandrasekhar Prabhu, is the former president of the MADA. I want to come to you on this. This is something that's almost become a legacy issue where every government continues the system and then points the finger at the other, saying, well, y'all continue to hire a blacklisted firm, y'all didn't check, y'all colluded with corrupt people. There is no end because at the end of the day, everyone has their hand in the cookie jar.
Absolutely right. I'm here as an expert on the subject. I'm an architect and a technical person on the subject. I've been teaching in the schools of urban planning and architecture, and I've been watching all these happenings very clearly. Let the politicians do their bit because they have to sing for their supper if they've come here. I have seen the BJP regime. I have seen the present regime. I have seen that corruption was there earlier. I have seen specific project during the earlier regime where there was rampant corruption. I have seen in the present government also that there is rampant corruption. So the corruption, if the corruption is an issue, it has been there earlier, it has been there now. It is not as if there was no corruption then and there is corruption now. So corruption has been all throughout, irrespective of which government is in power. So please don't just blame corruption on the thing. Corruption is all throughout. Corruption needs to be stopped. Corruption is bad and has to be put down very strongly. But let no political party claim that they were holier than thou. Because we know, and I have been on technical committees appointed by High Court and other groups wherein I have gone through the technical reports of various projects of MMRDA earlier. I have not just headed MADA, I have also headed technical committees of MMRDA, and I have seen the projects and I have given reports of corrupt activities in MMRDA, and those who are the corrupt people and those who against whom the reports were given were supported by either party. So it is not a question of the one party being more corrupt. I mean, there could be a degree that this is slightly more or that is slightly less. But the question is, it is not as if there was no corruption earlier and there is maximum corruption now, or that there is no corruption now and there was corruption earlier. So the corruption continues. These are systemic changes which need to be made. I'm coming to the technical aspect of the bridge, the design aspect, the execution aspect, and the technical aspects of the bridge, which seem to have totally overlooked. Corruption or no corruption, no contractor wants his bridge to fall. What has happened in the meanwhile, which has resulted in the bridge collapsing in the manner in which it did? Someone really needs to see, is it a fault of design? Is it a fault of execution? Is it a fault of the material used? Was substandard material used? Or was it some human default wherein, the joints which need to be connected properly were not? Or was it some mechanical fault of the likes of the cranes and other equipment which was used? These are all things which need to be seen. This has just happened yesterday. Within one day, no one is in a position to give you a very clear idea as to what must have happened there.
Yeah.
But I'm sure a little bit of understanding of what happened, a few visits on site and speaking to various people, we would definitely come to a conclusion as to what actually happened, resulting in so many people being injured and such a huge amount of loss that has happened to the state exchequer, whether to this thing. So let us not just talk, make this a political story, because this is not a political story alone.
Saili, I see you agreeing and nodding your head. In fact, I want to come to you in just a bit, but also joining us this evening, political analyst Ketan Vaidya. Ketan, this is the most basic of things for people to expect, a road. In fact, even the Bombay High Court, I believe in 2018, said that this is all that you have to provide. This is the most basic thing. And yet we see, I don't need to explain the situation of the roads in our financial capital. Now, when it comes to Delhi, we have an odd situation where there are different agencies which is ruled by the BJP and by the Aam Aadmi Party, and they're always bickering. Now, in Mumbai, we have at least one constant of the Sena. Around the Sena revolves the BJP, the NCP, the Congress, depending on which month or which year it is. But you have the Sena as a constant, and yet there is a complete unwillingness to resolve this issue despite the BMC being the richest civic body.
Well, you're right in a way that 20 years back when I started my journalistic career, and I'm glad to have Prabhu sir as a co-panelist, because 20 years ago when I started myself as a civic journalist, I was doing the same story of roads, of bridge falls, of buildings, and my famous go-to person, my choices go-to person was Prabhu sir. And I'm amazed that after 20 years, I am doing the same kind of reporting, and the basic reason is that the clique, like the lowest common denominator is corruption. Regardless of who's governing what body, the lowest common denominator is corruption. I would want to draw your attention to the CST bridge collapse. A similar thing happened. The same contractor was awarded the contract, and so this clique of contractors, builders, and politicians is really a matter to ponder upon and worry. And also, the tendering should be more transparent. Work allotment should be more broad-based. If one covers the civic body for 7-8 years, they'll come to know it's the same clique of contractors that get awarded contracts again and again and again. And this cannot happen with connivance of the people in power. And okay, in this case, it's the Sena. However, it's the same old case year after year. So the limited point that I'm trying to make is, of course, this issue is political, and it is more about connivance, vested interests, and substandard work executed despite the BMC and the MMRDA being such cash-rich civic bodies.
Yeah, and there's also a question of poor auditing, and Mr. Prabhu touched upon this briefly. Saili, if I can come to you on that. There is supposed to be an auditing system in place. In fact, in this particular case, in this particular flyover itself, it was examined and audited very recently, and they found nothing wrong. Now, again, either that is deliberate omission or commission. Similarly, when Ketan was referring to another collapse of the CST in which 6 people, I believe, died, that was audited 6 months before the incident, and they found nothing wrong. So again, the huge question is, are these auditing systems just for show, or is there actually anything which is examined for real in that?
So, I would like to come back to the first point I raised. I think it is about capacity building and internal training. I think Prabhu sir will agree with me. He's seen the system very much from inside, that we just do not invest in any kind of training, institutional building, and therefore you have to rely on contractors and consultants. It's a contractor and consultant Raj everywhere across. I mean, it's not only this municipal corporation or this government, it is everywhere. And the reason we have to depend on a consultant and a contractor Raj is because we are not investing in our institutional capacities. As far as the monitoring goes, I mean, when the CST collapse happened, I happened to study how bridges are actually, maintained across the world, and how are these assets really maintained. So across the world, in cities which are comparable to Mumbai, in mega cities, we have seen that there is a proper asset management system in place, which has maintenance schedules, which has replacement strategies, and which also uses several IoT-based systems and GIS systems for smart contracting and smart project management. Now, while the word smart has really become like a sore point in India, I really think if used in the right way, we should be able to plug a lot of holes. And yes, I will come back to the point, and you can ask anyone, I mean, across the board. I think capacity building is number one for avoiding anything that has happened like today.
Mr. Prabhu, do you want to comment on the subject of auditing? You did mention that, but there are also questions about how genuine these this auditing process entirely is, and also subsequently the collusion which results in several of these audits overlooking basic problems, structural flaws.
Yes, I'm very, very clear in my mind what this auditing process is. I can give you, if you give me a minute or so, I can give you some examples. None of the buildings which are declared as dangerous and that will collapse actually collapse. The ones which collapse are never amongst the list of which are declared as dangerous. And surprisingly, all those which are declared as dangerous are the ones which have been taken over by the developers and are the ones where the developer wants the people residing in the building to be vacated as early as possible. And those are the ones which are declared dangerous. So all these authorities which are supposed to be overseeing the work and passing judgments on either the quality of the building or the quality of a work or the quality of a project, these are dominated by this nexus of the builder, politician, contractor, and a section of the underworld, all put together. This nexus is so strong that it's the nexus which controls, it's the nexus which decides, and everyone else is just a puppet who is dancing to the tune of this nexus. That is unfortunately what has been happening over a period of years. And irrespective of who comes to power, it is this nexus which controls everything. And it is this nexus which gets people appointed on key positions and gets work done from them. That's how it happens. There could be a stray one or two people who happen to be straightforward or upright, but these are few and far between. By and large, the system is such that it's too manipulated, and the politician, builder, contractor, underworld, bureaucracy, this entire nexus is complete, and they are, actually strangulating the entire system. And the funds and finances, both of the corporation and of the MMRDA, get manipulated to a considerable extent by the likes of these people. And hence, the auditing has to be independent of these machinery. It has to be done by organizations which are academic in nature, perhaps the IIT or, such people who have no access to grind with day-to-day qualities, who have no business interests in the entire projects, or who have no connections with the contracting entities or the political entities. If auditing is done by such independent entities and they are bold enough and they are permitted to give their say, whatever their say is in the process, then I'm sure there will be certain amount of sanity in the system. Otherwise, what would happen? I can give you an example of one building which was declared as dangerous, and then the building's residents asked for permission to repairs. They got the buildings repaired by spending 8 buildings. They spent 10 crores on repairing. And then they got the IIT to certify that these buildings will be strong enough and will last for 25 more years, and nothing will happen to this building for the next 25 years. Mm-hmm. Subsequently, the FSI rules changed. And for that area, if it was a dangerous building, the FSI would have been increased. And all those buildings which IIT had certified to be strong and structurally stable were declared as dangerous within a week's time and demolished. So such things happen. Yeah. And so the auditing machinery itself, if it comes under pressure and it's not above board, then there is a major problem.
Well, and key to that nexus, Mr. Prabhu, is the role of the politician. And unfortunately, Shweta Shalini, since you are the only politician, I'm going to have to come to you on this. But it is about the larger question of the role of the politician and the role of political parties, because I want to circle back to this particular contractor who has been patronized for several years. if you do just a simple Google search of this particular firm, J. Kumar Infra, and we have spoken to him, I'll read out what they've said in just a bit. You will find several cases where they've come under the scanner, several cases though where they continue to be given projects, including, and I repeat this, under the previous government. In 2015, the BMC blacklisted them. In 2016, the MMRDA gave them the metro project. So it is not an isolated incident, or this is not just one government and nobody else has been doing this.
See, Aarti ji, I don't want to contest anything in this. In fact, I kind of agree to the entire panel. And the only thing I can say is what Saili has been saying time and again. We need to make fundamental changes, right? And one of the basic fundamental change as a politician, I can tell you, is to ensure, because these are leeches, whether you talk about politicians, whether you talk about babus, they behave like leeches who are sucking on taxpayers' money. So I think one of the basic thing that we all should be vetoing for is for these contractors to be tried under criminal law. And it is this care of the law that is going to ensure, or it is the structure and the system in place. It is transparency in the system. It is technology in the system. And of course, as Saili has been saying, the smart and the IoT functionalities in the system that will ensure that the power will come into the hands of the consumers. There is no other way that this can be handled. And I don't think that I'm going to be contesting anything about J. Kumar Infra, because the secret is out in the open. Yes, it is a rampant corruption that has been ongoing. And you can never pinpoint and say whether it is a particular babu or a particular politician. And hence, the entire structure and the system needs to be repaired.
Well, the system needs to be repaired. And Ketan, again, there was one more point that I wanted to touch upon in this. It is the absence of action against any officials. At the most, you'll see one or two people being suspended. There is no follow-up. There is no criminal proceedings that are actually initiated and seen through. So there is absolutely, as Shweta was saying, there's no fear at all amongst any babu, any official, because they know it's just going to be forgotten and life goes on.
No, I concur, and it's not always about the budgets, because if you go by the kind of budgets that BMC has, we would have been the best city in the world. Here, it's not just the cliche of too many cooks spoiling the broth. It's about too many corrupt cooks spoiling the broth again and again. And about criminal prosecution, yes, there should be strong legal laws in place. There should be fear of God, because this clique, because there are so many vested interests, there is so much of quid pro quo in all of this. So it's never going to break unless and until a few people go behind the bars and they are punished. And although we have a more democratic system, however, the kind of Singaporean system that is in place, I think it's high time now we have something similar to that, because the people want performance, and more than performance, this is about losing precious life. God forbid if something could have happened. We have a few injured figures, and today's mishap, we don't have any casualties so far. But what happened with the CST? And Mumbai has so many crowded stations and so many old bridges. So I think there should be some accountability, and this too many cooks spoiling the broth system should stop urgently, and criminal prosecution should be ordered. It should be the order of the day.
Well, it should be the order of the day. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This is an important conversation for us to have, because beyond politics, policy also matters. And urban infrastructure, civic infrastructure is a crucial aspect that affects your life and my life. And I just want to wrap up with what the Bombay High Court says, that you cannot let people die and say, I will only watch and it's not my responsibility. This is not acceptable, and it should not be acceptable by any agency, be it the state government or any civic body.